Hello, this is Stephan from SK Mouthpieces in New York City. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Today I'm going to show you a video of the refacing and opening of an Otto Link Super Toemaster Florida from the 60s. This was a really beautiful mouthpiece already and actually played really well. It was just super small, and the client asked it to be opened up. So as you can see, the facing is a little crooked. It's longer on the left side than on the right side here. And it's pretty consistent all the way out. Like I said earlier, the mouthpiece actually played really well. So a crooked facing doesn't always mean that a mouthpiece doesn't play well. So it's a 79 thousandths of an inch opening, and it's marked as a 4-star. So it's a little smaller than it's marked actually. This here is the super scary process of bending the mouthpiece open. So with a metal mouthpiece, you can actually bend it. And when you bend it, though, you have to reface it after, because there's no way that you can bend it accurately enough and get all the numbers to fall in place exactly where they need to be. So I use this peg on the other side of the mouthpiece underneath it, as you can see. So I do that so that I can be more specific about what area of the beak that I bend. I definitely don't recommend doing this at home. So here, I got it to where I wanted it right now, like as far as I want to go with the bending process. And then the next thing is that I want to make sure that I shape the tip rail and that I get the rough shape of it in place. And then here I'm flattening the table. You can see that the table on this one is actually a little convex. So there's a spot here at the end of the table that's still not being flattened out. So it's sort of below where the rest of the table is. So that's going to be worked out in the process. Here I'm starting to work on the facing, just getting it symmetric. It's starting to fall a little better in place here. I'm still working out little places where it's asymmetric. Making sure that I have the break. And then every time, usually I wipe off the table all the time. Even like the smallest speck of dust can make a huge impact on how the mouthpiece measures. So I clean all surfaces all the time. So the facing is roughly in place now. And then when you bend a mouthpiece, there's always work to be done with the baffle. In this case, because it was bent open, that's why I used a peg to make sure that I don't bend it too much so that the baffle comes up too high. But in this case, and I mean literally every time you do this, you're gonna have to bring down the baffle a little bit to get it below the line of that thin needle file that I put through. You can see that I put it through the mouthpiece, and there's like, I don't want the needle file to touch the baffle. That's too high then. So pretty much the area that I'm working on right here needs to come down to open up the sound of the mouthpiece. And it's starting to take pretty good shape, as you can see. And I work from like all angles of it. So that I'm polishing it up right now. Most of the time I just do that after I've done the baffle the first time through, it's easier for me to see what I'm working on if I have the surfaces polished up. So I may go back and do it again. Now I'm using a much finer grit, and you can see I'm at 102 thousandths of an inch of an opening right now. when you bend the mouthpiece open, you don't have to file it down so much so that the sides don't come out too much. But in this case, they did come out a little bit, so I still had to bring it in a little bit. So all the time I go finer and finer on the sandpaper. I think this might be 1500 sandpaper, or 1500 grit sandpaper that I'm working with right now. So basically the refacing process happens several times. I usually start with 400 grit sandpaper, and then I reface the entire mouthpiece, get the numbers in place where I want them, and then I do the whole process one more time, work on the table, reface one more time using 800, and then 1500 and 2000 and 3000 and 5000 and 7000 grit sandpapers. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit subscribe, and also remember to click on the bell button so that you get notifications for upcoming videos. Thanks again. Bye.